It's my honor to welcome all of you who are guests to St. Andrews for this extraordinary morning, and especially on my left over here, the 2012-2013 St. Andrews wrestling team, actually in the midst of this competition, so we're very happy to have them as well. Special welcome, obviously, to the amazing Hammond family that have joined us today. Betty right to my right, and then Elizabeth Zibby Pyle and her husband Russ and their 4 children, Charlie and Teddy and Toby and Duncan. We welcome all of you. I hope you'll someday come to St. Andrews too. And we welcome Sarah Hammond, class of '92, and her husband Aaron Ketchley. And their daughters, Eliza and Annie, are not with us, but they're here on campus, hopefully, again, getting a sense of this wonderful community. And then Ed's classmates from the class of 1960, his lifelong friend, Ned Mumford, from the class of 1959, and so many numerous friends and colleagues from Ed's career as a wonderful and distinguished lawyer in the Lower Eastern Shore. I was very, very lucky as the headmaster at St. Andrews to work with Ed in a variety of different contexts. And like all great alums and trustees, Ed would always make sure that I remembered 1 or 2 very, very important things about St. Andrews. And one was that this is a school built on a tradition of financial aid, and this is a school that must remain true to the founder's initial vision, that this be a school composed of a wide variety of students and families from every socioeconomic group in the country. And then he would also remind me that the best examples of those St. Andrews students were actually on the Eastern Shore. And so what he did year after year after year was identify amazing young men and amazing young women who had that spark that Ed knew would flourish in this community. And I was very lucky enough to teach and to coach many of you who are here who literally have Ed Hammond to thank for identifying St. Andrews and for imagining that this was indeed the place where you would grow and flourish and go on to incredible careers as adults. So we welcome all of you whose lives were changed by the generosity and vision of Ed Hammond today. It's now my honor to introduce our President of the Board of Trustees of St. Andrews, Kent Sweezey.
As a fellow Eastern Shoreman, I was always partial to Ed, and it's an honor to have the opportunity to speak today, and thank you all so much for doing this. In his 50th reunion biography, I want to read you what Ed said. Hopefully, by serving on this board, sending 3 great kids to the school, and making regular contributions, I have nibbled away at the tremendous debt I owe the DuPonts for founding and building the school. I served side by side with Ed for 14 years on the Board of Trustees, and I can tell you confidently that he did more than just nibble away. He was first elected to the board in 1992, but this followed a pretty distinguished career in service to the school. He was an officer of the Alumni Association Board. He was the chairman of the Sixth Form Dinner Committee. He was a panelist for Career Night, and he hosted numerous events in Berlin and Ocean City, on the Eastern Shore generally, and was a tireless advocate for the school. While he was on the board, Ed brought several talents to our, on the board's behalf. His expertise in law, in land use, and his love of historic preservation really became a hallmark of his service to the Land Use Committee and also to our Buildings and Grounds Committee. I think that I remember also what a faithful steward Ed was of the values of St. Andrews when we were talking about anything to do with our financial condition and the importance of financial aid. I don't think Ed ever forgot how important that is as a core mission of our school. And he was indeed a tireless advocate for our financial aid program and for preserving the financial security of the school so that we can always afford the best applicants, regardless of need, a St. Andrews education. I think we owe a great measure of debt to Ed, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees and in honor of his lifelong service to the school, I think the dedication of this locker room is extraordinary. Ed gave all he had on the mat, and he gave it in the boardroom, and I think we all owe him a great debt of gratitude, and this is a wonderful honor for him, and hopefully an inspiration to our wrestlers for a man who gave so much to the school. Thank you.
I guess first of all, I want to say thank you all for coming to this dedication today. It means a lot to see so many of our father's friends and former colleagues and fellow board members and classmates. And then I want to say, I might be echoing a little bit what you've already heard, because we prepared this without knowing what was coming ahead. As you all know, our father loved St. Anthony. Along with his family and Burley Manor, the house he was always fixing up, it was one of his life's great passions. He really believed that the school was a central force in shaping the person that he became. And he brought his big and enthusiastic personality to the school in a lot of different ways. First, as we've heard, he was a member of the Board of Trustees and on the Alumni Board for many years. He took a keen interest in preserving the rural nature of the school. And he was a staunch advocate for financial support of middle classes, as we've heard multiple times now. He also served as a panelist for Career Night, made annual fine calls, and I'm pretty sure he was always a ringleader for the class of 1960 reunion. And we recall that at his 25th reunion, he was feeling so enthusiastic about the school that he stayed up all night with the 5th-year reunion class. We can only presume that he was educating them about St. Andrews. He sent the two of us and our brother Edward here, and he liked to remind us that that was 9 consecutive years of tuition paid. As a parent, he was very involved, and he watched so many crew races and field hockey games and cross-country meets, and but he also took a real genuine interest in our friends, and he learned all their names and where they were from, and all kinds of interesting facts about them that we didn't always know. And then finally, as you've heard, he was always recruiting students from the Eastern Shore. He taught Sunday school at St. Paul's Episcopal Church for years, and he was always on the lookout there and other places for someone who he felt could really benefit from the school as he had. So, and now Sarah's going to say a little more.
So, what you may not know is that our father was a lifelong wrestling fan. He loved wrestling. And he was a college wrestler. He coached wrestling at Baltimore's Gilman School when he was a law student at University of Maryland. And he, most importantly, as I remember as a child, he was a lifetime subscriber and avid reader of amateur wrestling news. People probably never seen, but he loved to pour over the statistics in there, even when we were long out of high school and college. So he always held a special place in his heart for the St. Andrews wrestling team. And after serving as the team captain his senior year, he followed the ups and downs of St. Andrews wrestling for many years, and he was such an avid fan that he developed a good, close friendship with Ashton Richards, who was the wrestling coach when we were students here. And through amateur wrestling news, he would sort of follow the careers of St. Andreans who were really excellent wrestlers who went on to wrestle in college, and he would always update us about Earl Walker, class of 90, our contemporary, who did go on to become an All-American wrestler at BU, which I know that because of my dad. He also, one of the novels that he loved was The World According to Garp by John Irving, mostly because it was a lot about wrestling. So, our father loved St. Andrews. He loved wrestling. And by dedicating this locker room in his memory, we hope that the team will benefit from the presence of one of its biggest fans.
Christian Burke is a wonderful student and leader within the St. Andrews community and is also the co-captain of this wonderful wrestling team. And Christian's going to share some thoughts with all of us right now.
Thank you to the Hammond family. We on the 2012 to 2013 wrestling team feel that we're part of a greater St. Andrew legacy. This legacy is one of excellence, sportsmanship, and integrity that we value both on and off the mat. This room, our second home away from the mat, is both one where two teams can greet each other with grace before a match, and also where the Saints can laugh and learn after practice. We are very thankful for the opportunity given to us by this donation to uphold the values that accompany this great sport, and we would like to offer our thanks with these gifts to the Hammond family.
And now Jay Hutchinson, our chaplain, will deliver a blessing on this wonderful moment.
While I did not know Ed personally, I am sure that he was a very intelligent fellow if he loved the wrestling news and loved to pore over the statistics. So I get the opportunity to be both priest, wrestling coach, and blesser of the wrestling room. And that to me is an incredible honor. So I welcome you guys here, and I want to thank you. And really, the words that Kent and Zibby and Sarah have said already provide us with a blessing of this room. So what I'm doing is merely an official act at this point. So welcome to everybody who's here, and let us bow our heads for a blessing. Today, God, we invoke your blessing on the Hammond wrestling locker room. Just as Jacob wrestled with the angel to secure his blessing for a prosperous future, we ask your blessing, O God, on this beautiful new room that the Hammond family has given to honor their father, Ed, a disc champion, a student, an athlete, a coach, a parent, a trustee, and most importantly, a wrestler. A wrestler who worked tirelessly both on and off the mat to make sure that all St. Andreans could realize the dream that he did in this school. Their generosity is a testimony to Ed's impact on their lives. And today, in blessing this room, we celebrate Ed's indomitable spirit and his dedication to St. Andrews. May you use this room to encourage all teams who gather here to exercise gritty determination, lion-heartedness, and great sportsmanship. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.